A 24/7 championship change, a rematch between King Corbin and Chad Gable, as well as finding out next week's opponents for Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. Last night's Raw was eventful. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Bad Bookers Wrestling Podcast. My name is Jack and today we have once again the Raw review. It returns for the first time in ages. Obviously last week we did an NXT review for NXT's premiere on the USA Network, and I said then that the reviews were going to come back, starting things off a full week of reviews, hopefully, fingers crossed, starting out with Monday Night Raw. We kicked off things in the Monday Night Raw. Seth Rollins came out once again. It seems like the norm nowadays. Seth Rollins comes out, talks about how he's the underdog, but he's still Universal Champion. Someone comes out, match gets set up. It's the same thing happens. So Seth Rollins came out. He talked about being stalked by the Fiend and how it's worse than a living nightmare because he knows that at Hell in a Cell he has to be locked inside Hell in a Cell with the Fiend. But he says that he's going to do what he does best, and that is survive and prevail. He did it against Brock, he did it against Braun, and he'll no doubt do it against Bray. That's what you want from me, champion. Someone who could just survive. Yeah. Anyway, Braun comes out, calls Bray Wyatt a B-Tech Mr. Rogers. If you're American, you won't know what B-Tech means, I assume. Yeah, just calls him Mr. Rogers, and says that he prefers to talk to his opponents face to face rather than coming out of the shadows and attacking from there. Braun Strowman claims that last week Seth Rollins offered him a rematch for the Universal Championship, and Seth said that no, he didn't. He didn't say that whatsoever. He said he's glad that he's not going to be facing Braun Strowman for a while because Braun Strowman gave him the beating of his life at Clash of Champions, and once again he survived against Braun, hitting Braun with that 4 curb stomps and a pedigree. But because Braun Strowman came out and got up all in the face of Seth Rollins, Seth said that he wouldn't mind now actually going one-on-one with Strowman once again. Braun says, is that a challenge? Seth says, make of it as you will, and Braun accepts what may or may not have been a challenge, and the match is set up for later on in the night. The crowds for this promo were a bit half-assed, I thought. I didn't really know whether they were into it or not. I knew that Seth Rollins' promos is very copy and paste for me at the moment, and I'm just not interested in a face Seth Rollins anymore. I don't mind him being champion. It's just this whole face Seth Rollins is just a bit dull and lackluster at the moment, and I can't quite get behind him. I can't quite get behind Braun as well, which is a shame because they're both good wrestlers. Seth's up there as one of the best in the world, and Braun Strowman's a fantastic wrestler, but I just can't get behind either of them at the moment. So maybe it's good that someone like Bray Wyatt is the next opponent for Seth. Anyway, we move away from the Universal title picture and we move into the tag team division as we had the OC versus the Viking Raiders. The Viking Raiders began the early sessions very, very strong of the match, going through Carl Anderson like he was just made of paper. This caused AJ Styles fairly early on to cause a distraction, grabbing hold of Ivar's leg. I nearly called him Hanson then. Still haven't got used to the whole different names. It's weird. It's weird, alright? Get over it, it's weird. But yeah, AJ grabbed Ivar's leg. Ref saw it. Ref jogged him on, basically. Kicked him out from ringside. And as AJ was walking up the ramp, complaining that, oh, Ivar kicked me. I didn't do anything. Blah, blah, blah. Classic heel work. Cedric Alexander came out of nowhere, attacked AJ Styles, and chased him to the back. And that was the end of what we saw of Cedric and AJ for this week. I don't know if the feud's really going to carry on, or it's just Cedric getting a little bit of payback from Clash of Champions. Anyway, the OC, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows had a bit of offense in the middle, but it was quickly reversed back into the Viking Raiders, doing most of the offense. The crowd were getting behind them as well, which is great to see. And they hit the Viking experience onto Carl Anderson. As Ivar was pinning Carl Anderson, Eric jumped out of the ring, suicide dive onto Gallows, and Viking Raiders pick up the W. And they finally feel like they're on course for something. Obviously, for weeks they're facing jobbers. Some might say that Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, that's all they are in WWE, is essentially jobbers. But they were facing actual like local talent, if you will, and they're now facing proper tag teams, and they're performing well against them, and it can only mean good things for the Viking Raiders. And finally, they look like they're on a path to the top of the tag division. It's not a very high path, let's say that much. It's quite easily done. Look at the current champions. But yeah, they're on the right track, to say the least. And this match was decent. Obviously, the two teams have some chemistry with each other, harping back to their New Japan days when they're under different aliases. But yeah, decent match. Finally, good to see that Viking Raiders are on the right path, as I keep on saying, towards hopefully some tag team gold. The OC, still a bit confused at where they're trying to go at the moment, but at least they're getting TV time. At least they're on our screens because they are two good wrestlers. And as a tag team, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows are fantastic. We've seen that when they first came into WWE. We've seen that in New Japan. We've seen that everywhere. They are a very, very good tag team. And they should be on TV. So I'm glad they are. But at the moment, I feel like the Viking Raiders can offer more to the tag division. We had a backstage interview with Becky Lynch and Michael Cole, basically just talking about the whole Sasha Banks situation at Clash of Champions, their upcoming match inside Hell in a Cell, at Hell in a Cell. And it finally feels that Becky Lynch is back. The man is back. Over these last few weeks, she's finally returned to what everyone fell in love with her for back in the run-up to WrestleMania, essentially. Just the pure attitude, like, oh, she's a bit like Stone Cold, just say that, all the comparisons. But at least her attitude has come back. Over the past months after WrestleMania, the attitude wasn't really there. It wasn't the man. But for me, anyway, it just feels like the attitude is back. There's a little bit more snappiness to her, and it's great to see. I still think she'll probably lose to Sasha and drop the belt to Sasha, but it's good to have the old man back, if you will, the pre-WrestleMania man back with Becky Lynch. And I'm really starting to enjoy her character again. There was a bit of dull, when she was facing the likes of Lacey Evans and Natalia. There was a bit of a dull. It just couldn't really get it going. Obviously, she'd lost the SmackDown Live Women's Championship to Charlotte earlier on. When was that? I can't remember when that was. Money in the Bank, wasn't it? Because then Bayley cashed in the Money in the Bank. So yeah, I'm glad to see the old Becky back, if you will, the old attitude. Like I said, I thought Sasha might take the title off Becky even, and I still think that's going to be the case. But maybe more of this, and I might sway back towards Becky retaining the title, maybe. We'll have to wait and see with that one. Next matchup was Rusev versus EC3. Now, Rusev versus EC3, you might think that's a main event TV taping kind of match. But it was on Monday Night Raw. It was a squash match. Kind of what was needed, squash match. Rusev had just come back. He's come back last week in that storyline, which once again did this storyline with Maria Kanellis. I've said it on the podcast before. If you're going to do the storyline, do it every week, because at the moment it feels like they do it once a month. It's just like, what the flip is going on? I'm trying not to swear in these reviews. What is going on? But yeah, Rusev, he's back. He's finally. It's always good to see Rusev. Squashed EC3. It's good that they both got TV time, obviously. EC3's... I feel like the ship has sailed with EC3 and his WWE career. There's not much returning from this. Not this defeat, but just everything that's gone on since he's come up to the main roster. There was so much potential there. He seemed perfect for the main roster, and it never quite worked for him. It never quite worked. He's won a 24/7 championship, but it's just, like I said, I think the ship has sailed for him. He's not going to get another opportunity, and even if he did, I don't know if the crowd would get behind him as much as people think. But Rusev, on the other hand, he's got another opportunity to get back to where he was with the Rusev Day stuff, and even before that when he was United States Champion. he could get back to those good old days, but obviously it depends on the higher ups, if you will, in Gorilla and in the booking meetings. But we all know how good Rusev is. Hopefully he can get back to former glories, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I can only hope. We all saw what happened to Rusev Day. The best merch seller that was around for ages. And that kind of just got killed to death, doesn't it? Fingers crossed Rusev gets another fair crack of the whip. Whip? A Family Guy whip. A fair quack. A fair crack at the whip. There we go. I said it right that time. And fingers crossed. Next match was Sasha Banks versus Nikki Cross. Now, this match started really weirdly, I thought. It was a very really boring start to the match, to say the least. It was essentially there would be one wrestler move, and then Nikki Cross would do a deep arm drag into an arm lock of some sort. Sasha would break out. There would be one wrestling move, and then another arm drag, arm lock. Another wrestler move, another arm drag, arm lock. It seemed like deja vu. Things were just repeating themselves, and I'm just like sat there like, this is dull. Like, granted, arm drags look cool when they're done right, but not 3 times in the space of 20 seconds. I don't want to see that, especially if arm locks in between. Like, okay, it really random, out of nowhere. Luckily, the match picked up, and the match was actually really, really decent afterwards. It went on for a very long time as well. I think it was about a 15-minute match. 15 to 20 minute match maybe. So they got a lot of time here. And I love what they're doing with Nikki Cross at the moment. I feel like at the moment she is a credible challenger for either Bayley's title or Becky's title at the moment, at a pay-per-view. A good pay-per-view level match. She's up there. They've booked her well enough to put her into that position. Especially with how Alexa Bliss at the moment is a little bit injury prone, I guess you could say. Maybe through fault of her own or not, if you want to follow recent activity. But yeah, the women's division need us. There's the 4 horsewomen. 2 of them are champions, Charlotte and then Sasha. You need other women up there to compete. And at the moment, I feel like Nikki Cross is pretty much up there with the 4 women or 4 horsewomen of the WWE, if you will, which is fantastic. And Sasha Banks bought into that, it seems, because she sold perfectly for Nikki, I thought, but it wasn't the right stage for Nikki to win. So despite losing to Sasha, she looked awesome. She looked awesome in this match. Sasha made her look $1 million, made her look like a credible threat to anyone. Because obviously Sasha Banks is up there as one of the best women's wrestlers in the WWE. And Sasha Banks made Nikki Cross look good. Nikki Cross is good. I'm not saying Nikki Cross isn't good. She's a fantastic wrestler, but you've got to have the people with the star power, if you will, in the women's division. Like Sasha Banks, she's one of the horsewomen. She's up there as one of the best in the division. And to have Sasha, put over Nikki, not in the terms of result, but in that sort of way, was awesome to see. Like I said, it didn't make any sense for Nikki to beat Sasha, because obviously Sasha's going for Becky Lynch's title. You need to keep her looking strong as well. But majority of offense was Nikki, with Sasha doing heel work as expected. Basically, the finish of the match was Nikki was on the top rope, did her crossbody onto Sasha, but Sasha used the momentum, rolled it back, locked in the bank statement, and Nikki Cross tapped. So even then, it was just like an out of nowhere victory for Sasha. So it doesn't harm Nikki as much as a 5-minute squash match would, let's say, because she looks awesome in the match. She got the crowd behind her, and the women's division have got another star basically, and because they need stars, they need credible opponents. They tried it with Lacey Evans, it didn't work. Natalya is always going to be there or thereabouts. They had Asuka, and they've ruined Asuka completely. She's now doing a YouTube channel when she's one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. So yeah, they're doing the right things with Nikki Cross, and hopefully, long may it continue. We had another women's match after this: Lacey Evans versus Ember Moon, and I feel like the WWE really want us to hate Lacey Evans, but not in a heelish way. It's people hated Roman Reigns, right, for winning all the time. Lacey Evans is picking up wins where it really doesn't look right at the moment. She beat Ember Moon here, and for the second week in a row, she locked it in. I say locked in with massive inverted commas there. That she locked in the sharpshooter while on one knee. I don't know how you can do that. But yes, Lacey Evans made Ember Moon tap. Ember Moon goes back to the previous conversation we just had. Ember Moon had that chance of being the top woman of both divisions, and they made her look incredibly weak in the feud against Bayley, and then she never really recovered, and now she's just tapped out to Lacey Evans, and it's just like, where does Ember Moon go from here? You need to go and look at the sharpshooter that Lacey Evans locked in, because it just, like I said, she was knelt down on one knee. There was no. It seems like no one has taught Lacey Evans how to do a sharpshooter. They've just gone, Lacey, can you do a sharpshooter? She's probably gone, yes, I can. It just no. No. Someone teach her. You got Natalya who teaches the women. Natalya, that is your move. I know you learnt it from other family members, but that is your move. Teach Lacey Evans how to do the move properly. You're in a feud with her. You need to make the move look good to make you look good in a way. So just someone teach her how to do a sharpshooter and make it look believable, because Ember Moon tapped out to it was 10 times weaker than when The Rock did a sharpshooter. And The Rock wasn't the best at doing sharpshooters. So yeah, Lacey Evans tapped out Ember Moon. Adds to that storyline with Natalya, I guess. Next up, Firefly Fun House episode again. And I never do these justice when I'm talking about them. What I've written down on my notes are: Bray Huskus and Ramblin' Rabbit teach us some lessons in sharing. And that's all I put. I never do it justice when I used to do the Raw reviews, whether in video or when I wrote them up on the website, badbookers.com. Better check it out. I always say, just go and watch it. Just go and watch the Firefly Fun House, because it's incredible. My words never do it justice. Once again, I can't really describe what's happened, because it's just mad. Like I said, I can't express the words properly to explain what has happened in a Firefly Fun House, basically. Go and watch it. It'll be on the WWE YouTube channel. Once again, it was good. It's not... These newer versions of the Firefly Fun House aren't as good as the older version, I feel. But they're still doing a job. And they're still getting Bray Wyatt over. Still getting the creepiness over. It's doing a job perfectly at the moment. But yeah, go check it out. Go check out the Firefly Fun House. It's always excellent. We come back from the ad break after the Firefly Fun House, and we have R-Truth and Carmella running down to the ring with no one following them until, give it 30 seconds or so, and then all the jobbers, if you will, come out and follow both Carmella and R-Truth. And Carmella gets on the mic and goes, "Look, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep running. I can't living a life of fear, if you will. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't do anything. I need to get out of this." R-Truth just looked, says something, I can't remember, I didn't write it down in the notes, and then gives Carmella a hug. And then Carmella rolls R-Truth up. And now Carmella's 24/7 champion. And R-Truth's just sat there like, what on earth just happened? I've just lost my belt. But then then it's like, oh, has Carmella turned heel? What is this? R-Truth lifts the hands of Carmella, and then the women jobbers, if you will, come down to the ring and start chasing Carmella and R-Truth. And now this is where the problems I feel with the 24/7 championship is going to rear its head. There's nothing wrong with a man rolling up a female to get a pinfall victory. I don't feel like there's nothing wrong. Obviously, you don't want a man smacking the crap out of a woman on your live TV. Obviously not. But it seems now at the moment that the 24/7 championship is a women's belt, and I'd rather it just be an intergender belt where a man can roll up a woman just like the women can roll up a man. So I don't feel like it should be exclusive to a gender on, because at the moment, like, Carmella rolled up R-Truth. Alexa Bliss rolled up R-Truth, or tried to, at Clash of Champions. So, like, it just seemed like now they've portrayed it as now as the men have no chance of winning the belt until when. Like, for the time being, it's just going to be a women's belt. Just have it both ways. Have it both ways. Have it. There's nothing wrong with a man rolling up a woman to win a title. Like I said earlier, you don't want a man beating the crap out of a woman. A roll up is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, Carmella is your 24/7 champion. The second ever woman to do it. Or was it third? I can't remember. It might be third. Maybe. But yeah, which is good. Carmella is a champion again, if you will. And it's the 24/7 championship's died down a little bit. Obviously, it was always, let's put it on this guy and then give it back to R-Truth. Let's put it on Drake Maverick, but then R-Truth will win it back. So it's kind of died down a little bit. People have lost interest, I feel. But maybe with this new dynamic with Carmella, and if it is just essentially a women's only title, we're going to get a lot more women. We're going to get a lot more people with TV time in the women's division. You need it. So that can only be a good thing, surely. A rematch now of the King of the Ring final. King Corbin versus Chad Gable. And if you had to describe a classic wrestling match, not maybe classic as in, that match will be remembered for years. A classic wrestling match. It would be one bad guy versus one babyface. They go at it. The crowds cheer for the babyface. And then shenanigans happen when neither man wins the match. Maybe in a classic wrestling match, the babyface prevails and beats the bad guy. But in this match, we had a DQ finish, so it didn't quite happen that way. But it was essentially that. Baron Corbin is a fantastic heel. He does his heel work fantastically well. Chad Gable had the right amount of babyface fire that we've all seen before with like American Alpha and stuff. He got the crowd on board with him. He got the crowd cheering for him at the right moments. He was playing the crowd perfectly, just like Baron Corbin was playing the crowd perfectly. It was like a proper pantomime kind of thing, if you will. Chad Gable seemed super over with the crowd, which is awesome to see, because if he's getting a little push off of this and he's going to get more TV time, he's just going to get more over the crowd, because people know how good he is in the ring. He's essentially Kurt Angle version 2, really, isn't he? He's as goofy as Kurt Angle used to be. Maybe not as good as a wrestler as Kurt Angle used to be, but he's still a fantastic wrestler. And pairing up with Baron Corbin, who no one wants to see win, he's just won King of the Ring, and no one wants to cheer him, so they're going to cheer for the guy opposite him. It's easy to get behind Chad Gable. He's a white meat babyface, if you will. So it's easy to get behind him. They both work the crowd perfectly. Like I said, it was a DQ finish. Baron Corbin went for the end of days. Chad Gable rolled out of it, if you will, and locked in the ankle lock. But Baron Corbin was trying to get to the ropes, couldn't quite do it. Picked up his scepter from the side of the ring and just smacked Chad Gable with it. And then continued to attack Chad Gable with the scepter, obviously causing a DQ finish. No man won. Well, I guess Chad Gable won the match, but no man won the match, technically. And yeah, this feud needs to continue, I feel. I'm more than happy with this feud to continue. Chad Gable is looking like he's getting some momentum finally. And Baron Corbin's Baron Corbin, isn't he? But yeah, classic wrestling match, I thought. Pretty good. Next up, we had a fatal 5-way match, obviously to determine next week's the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. I don't know what season it's in, but every now and again they have these. So basically, it's when they design a new logo. Like, crap, we need a new season now. Let's start a new season next week. So yeah, good. It's, instead of the Raw logo with a straight line, it's now a Raw logo with a triangle line. Mad, I know, it's incredible stuff. But we had a fatal 5-way match. Obviously next week is going to be Seth Rollins versus whoever wins this fatal 5-way match for the Universal Championship. It's elimination rules, so obviously it's not 1-4 to a finish. We had Ricochet versus Robert Roode versus Rey Mysterio versus AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I nearly forgot then. Usually what I do with these elimination matches is I don't play by play, if you will, until the last fall. I'll just quickly go through the eliminations in order and then talk about the last two. And we had a massive shock to start with. Ricochet was in the ring. I'm going to refer to my notes on this because a lot happened. So I put in my notes, Ricochet hits Roode with a recoil. But as he gets up, Shinsuke Nakamura, out of nowhere, just smacks Ricochet with the Kinshasa. And Ricochet's the first man to get eliminated. Ricochet. With a match, obviously, you got to think Ricochet in terms of pecking order. There's a match of Robert Roode's in there, granted, he's a champion, and Shinsuke Nakamura, granted, he's a champion. Neither of those men are high on the list, really, which is a shame, because Shinsuke's Intercontinental Champion, but he's not really high on the list of WWE at the moment. Whereas Ricochet's like touted to be the next star, and he just gets eliminated first. It's like, wow, that's incredible. It just shows that, you know, anything can happen. The crowd didn't like it, but that's, I guess, it gets it hit on Shinsuke, didn't it? Perfect. Yeah, Ricochet eliminated first. We then had our next elimination about 5 minutes afterwards. Roode's tried to hit. What I've written in my notes here is this match keeps up its high intensity as AJ Styles eliminates Shinsuke Nakamura with a phenomenal forearm, but instantly Bobby Roode and Robert Roode put together, brilliant. Robert Roode instantly hit a glorious DDT onto AJ Styles, and the final two are Robert Roode and Rey Mysterio. Once again, the crowd were proper into it. Obviously cheering for Rey. Everyone wanted Rey to win at this point. Roode tries to hit the glorious DDT onto Rey, but Mysterio counters, Hurricane Rana's Robert Roode onto the second rope, setting up a 619. But as he runs to the other ropes, he comes back. Bobber. I keep on saying bloody Bobber. It wasn't Bobber, the swear words on Habbo Hotel. Robert Roode hits the spinebuster onto Rey Mysterio. Bloody Bobber. Like I said, the crowd are fully behind Rey at this point. Everyone loves Rey Mysterio. Rey went for a seated senton onto Roode. Roode catches him, so Rey's like dangling down while Roode's got his legs up here. But Rey manages to counter that, as I think Roode was going for like a powerbomb of some sort. Counters that into a Hurricane Rana. Gets him on the second ropes again, but this time hits the 619. Hits the frog splash. And next week, it will be Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio for the Universal Championship. What a great match that should be, especially for a TV match. That is incredible. Incredible to see. These two could probably put on like a half-hour pay-per-view match, and it'll be really good. Don't know what they're going to get on TV. Is there going to be interference? Is there going to be just a clean victory? Is it going to last for like 10-15 minutes? Nobody knows at this point. But Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio, that is pretty mental going. Fingers crossed, it's a really, really good match. Sticking with Seth Rollins, we finally got that match for, what I thought was for the Universal Championship. Ended up it wasn't. I swear they were implying all night that it was for the Universal Championship. But it wasn't. But so, oh well. Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman. It was a decent enough match, but this match won't be remembered. Someone was missing out on all the fun, so they thought they'd, jump in and have all the fun and not let anyone else have the fun. You remember what we were saying earlier, Bray, about sharing? Didn't do much sharing here. The lights go out and Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, attacks Braun Strowman with the mandible claw as the lights flashing around him. Puts Braun Strowman to the floor. Seth Rollins sat in the corner, like cradling, absolutely cacking his pants, screaming at some points as Bray Wyatt just goes up to him slowly and stares in his eyes. But yeah, mandible claw was locked into Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman then gets back up, got to keep Braun looking strong, only to be locked in another mandible claw. This time Braun Strowman is gone. He is out of here, knocked out by the mandible claw. Bray Wyatt once again turns back to Seth. He's just sat there staring, absolutely cacking himself. And then the lights go out, the music stops, and Raw finishes with just black screen and Bray Wyatt laughing. What an ending to Raw. What a fantastic way to end Raw. I feel just black screen and Bray Wyatt laughing. It just creeps people out. I'd love to see it. But yeah, that was Monday Night Raw. Eventful Monday Night Raw. I thought, 24/7 shenanigans. Universal Championship decider, Fatal 5-Way was a really good match. Nikki Cross is looking great as ever. Women's division getting a lot of TV time this week, which is fantastic to see. I always do star ratings for Raw. If I had to do a star rating for this, I'll give it a solid 3.5 stars. I think nothing major happened, I guess you could say, but everything ticked along quite nicely. Most of the things made sense. It didn't feel like 3 hours. Usually Raw feels like more than 3 hours. It didn't feel like 3 hours. Things were good. Chad Gable, Baron Corbin was excellent. Like I said, a proper classic wrestling match. The Fatal 5-Way was really good, like I said. And yeah, there was nothing really. I didn't have any complaints about Raw. 3.5 stars out of 5. Pretty damn good, in my opinion. But yeah, that was the Raw review. Finally, as I'm starting to lose my voice after a fairly long time of speaking, I do apologise. That was Monday Night Raw. My name has been Jack. Obviously, we are the Bad Bookers Wrestling Podcast. If you haven't already, why don't you leave a like down below if you like the video, obviously. And if you did like the video, you might want to consider subscribing, because there's a lot of content coming out on the channel very, very soon, as in tomorrow and the rest of the days for SmackDown, NXT, maybe even some Impact once in a while. We don't show enough love to Impact, and I feel like we should. Check out all our social medias, our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just type in Bad Bookers, you'll find us, or even easier, links are in the description for that. There's also links in the description for our website, www.badbookers.com, as well as our Patreon is there if you want to support us. We've had some very generous people support us over on Patreon and other means through donating, which is incredible. Incredible. And there's nothing really else to suggest. So please, like I said, like, subscribe, and I shall see you tomorrow for SmackDown review. It is back, baby. SmackDown review. I'm loving these reviews now. Thank you very much for watching.